We're back at it in another weekend with Hexbots, Hexbug Battlebots Series 4. Last time we saw the revenge spree of Orbit go on to the tournament, along with the other reserve robot, Seraphim, go through, and knocking out Quarter Pounder to just go to the third place bracket and leaving the other robots in its dust. Now this time, some random robots clash, but yet again, it's also just spinners, and we also have a flipper because we feel like it. So yeah, in any cases, this is dedicated to you, Random Robotics, if you're ever watching this video. But yeah, let's get on with the lineup. First, from Huntsville, Alabama, T-Bone. T-Bone is back badder than ever. So bad, in fact, you can literally see the veins in his eyes. He's the crazy know-it-all blue bar spinner. He's got loads of potential, however, a major weakness that's always stopped him from getting into the championship most often, he's easily flipped. From Portland, Oregon, King Cobra. The first of Random Robotics' machines is here. Being the first is King Cobra. It's got the hammer spinner-ish weapon. And, well, it's just the repainted saw blades. His strength is the father's love. However, weaknesses, he's not really as top tier as his other bro. From Portland, Oregon, Komodo Dragon. Speaking of the devil himself, it's Komodo Dragon. He's now back with actual forks, and hopefully his weapon should maybe work. Strengths, obviously his father's cherished towards him. However, weaknesses, he's got major drive trouble. So let's see if they'll cut it. From Silverstone, United Kingdom, Final Lap. The first of two rookies to enter this heat is Final Lap. He managed to get third place in the New Blood tournament, which is a pretty good feat. Strengths, he's very, very fast. However, weaknesses, his weapon is not really the strongest in the entire field. And from Ginza, Japan, Samurai. And finally, to round out the field, is Samurai, with the vertical disc spinner and the long hinged forks. They're not really hinged, but however, it's done pretty good in the recent tournament. Strengths, he's got the ground game. However, weaknesses, it's not really as a reliable pusher. I so far like this lineup so far. We got some major hitters and two new robots instead of one. Well, I mean, if they work. Because we don't have a lot of reserve robots, okay? We're not very good with this. Anyways, kicking off things. In the blue square is T-Bone, the runners-up of Series 2. And in the red square, King Cobra, who was actually the mystery robot last year. However, went to the third place bracket and ultimately lost. Can they do it again this year? Or will they bounce back with a good knockout or a decision against T-Bone? Well, the only way to find out is through this fight. 3, 2, 1, activate. Let the battle begin. T-Bone up to speed. Komodo Dragon flies out of the square and his forks just shatter immediately on impact. T-Bone is not messing around this season, but yet again, neither is King Cobra. He wants to make the tournament in style and be one of the first of Random Robotics' machines to make it. I mean, if not, Komodo Dragon is right there. King Cobra is trying to land some shots, but is getting flipped over by T-Bone. That's not the way you do it. You have to get underneath of your opponent, you goober. Anyways, T-Bone is back up to speed. King Cobra lines up for a shot, a big hit, but it kind of just pushes away King Cobra. Nothing really too special. And it was T-Bone rams into the screws for some reason. That is not good control from them when their opponent was literally right in front of them. However, they are pushing back King Cobra into the screws. Oh, that's weird. King Cobra seems to be stuck in the screws. T-Bone looks like he's going to let him free. That's good to hear. And now King Cobra is free, but continues to get back on the screws as if he doesn't want to continue. But he's got a long journey ahead of him as T-Bone is continuing to push King Cobra as King Cobra pushes T-Bone into the screws, but it doesn't work. T-Bone is using some good control right now to push back King Cobra into the side wall. And if it ever goes to the judges, I think T-Bone might take the cake here. Although King Cobra is trying to recover, but King Cobra has his weapon stuck in the screws. Oh, I guess... Oh, never mind. King Cobra is free, and now T-Bone is continuing to push back King Cobra into the side wall, flipping him over. Is King Cobra going to get back up? Yes, he is. Can he do more damage to T-Bone? I don't really think so. T-Bone is just saving that weapon for a better opportunity, or if he's going to go for the ground game, but King Cobra has a good hold of him and uses the spinner and the pulverizer in the background. But now T-Bone gets free and he spins the bar spinner, so I guess to say the ground game didn't really work. But now they're getting underneath of King Cobra once again and putting him into the out of the arena zone. I think they might have a clearing, and King Cobra is out of the arena. T-Bone gets 3 points. I've been waiting a lot to see from this robot. A swift execution by T-Bone as King Cobra is down with 0 points, and T-Bone stalks to the leaderboard with 3. He hopes to be one of the competitors to not thwart his ways of getting a complete KO streak. I mean, hey, it could go for any robot. Oh, except for King Cobra. Anyways, next fight in the blue square, Komodo Dragon, Random Robotics' other creation. And in the red square, final lap. This should be quick and easy for him if, obviously, Komodo Dragon knows what he's doing. But enough chit-chat, let's get to the fight. 3, 2, 1, activate. Let the battle begin. Final lap turns for some reason, but is up to speed as Komodo Dragon is trying to go around. Final lap manages to get a little nibble on the back of Komodo Dragon's wheel. You know, it's been a while since we've seen Komodo Dragon. They are the YouTuber robot champion, and don't forget that as they immediately flip final lap. Well, that's pretty quick. Komodo Dragon is also going to get 3 points as final lap is no way going to get back up from after this. See? I told you Komodo could get some more wins. Well, they get a swift and easy knockout against final lap, which is kind of funny because they both use the same fork setup. But in any cases, our next fight, we've got King Cobra in the blue and another rookie Samurai in the red. Let's see how they do. Maybe. 3, 2, 1, activate. Let the battle begin. 2 spinners up to speed. A good start there by King Cobra, getting underneath of Samurai. Samurai, another new robot to the series. However, he was actually one of the first few older robots to be made, along with the likes of Sergeant Tankshell and Deathroll. It's just the first time you're seeing him in this series. Hans, get your bleeding hand out of the screen. I was gonna be here for a moment. A piece comes off of King Cobra, and the other because of course it does. Yeah, Samurai is trying to push back King Cobra. Hans, can you please get your bloody hand out of the damn way? Please. Thank you. Anyways, Samurai continuing to get up to speed. King Cobra lifts himself over for some reason, and Samurai gets underneath of him. That's already some good work there by Samurai, using the ground game to their advantage. Well, because they have more forks, and also the fact that King Cobra likes to wheelie himself for some odd reason. I guess Samurai just does have the better ground game at this point, as King Cobra lifts himself over Samurai, gets himself stuck on the screws, but he gets free. And Samurai is probably going to use that to his advantage, considering the fact that King Cobra loves to lift himself over, as you saw there. For an instance, King Cobra trying to move around Samurai, trying to land up a nice shot. It does so onto the back of King Cobra and tries getting it out of the arena, but it doesn't really look like it. I don't think it really has the same power it has as, like, T-Bone, for instance. As King Cobra is being lifted up by Samurai. As Samurai gets free and King Cobra tries to come toward him. Samurai gets stuck in the screws, but he gets free and pushes back King Cobra to the front of the wall. But now King Cobra is trying to get free, so is Samurai. Samurai turns around and gives a nice little push onto King Cobra, but misses, and King Cobra has a hold of him, does damage to Samurai, and now has him stuck between a rock and a hard place with the screws. As can the screws manage to lift Samurai? Oh, they do! And Samurai, whoa! Samurai gets stuck into the sidewall, and King Cobra are gonna take 3 points. I guess that's a nice recovery there from King Cobra toward the end. Well, what a shame for Samurai. They were controlling that whole fight, but then they got scooped up by King Cobra, and then they got dunked on. Well, congrats to the other Random Robotics machine for getting 3 points. But now next up is a rematch from Series 6's round of 16. It was T-Bone and Komodo Dragon. Komodo took the win by damaging T-Bone's bar and getting him stuck in the wedge. Can Komodo repeat the same success, or will T-Bone get his revenge? Let's find out. 3, 2, 1...
Let the bot battle begin. T-Bone up to speed. Komodo Dragon slow to get out of his square. A fork flies off of Komodo Dragon to start the fight. Although I don't really think that means anything. He's still got 5 left over. A big shot. Chucking back Komodo Dragon. As Komodo Dragon is trying to move along. T-Bone has that bar spinner up to deadly speed. The only way he could flip him is if it could stop it. And it looks like it does. T-Bone having a bit of a hard time. Komodo Dragon trying to flip him, but can't get the right lift. Can he do it here? Yes, he can. T-Bone up and over, and Komodo Dragon are now going to get themselves another 3 points. I think he's destined for another win.
Well, now we know he wins the rematch. Komodo Dragon gets 6 points now, and T-Bone still has 3 remaining with King Cobra. Anyways, next up, it's the Battle of the Rookies between Samurai and Final Lap. Both don't have points, but that will change today. Maybe. We'll see who wins. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Let the bot battle begin. The 2 rookies are at it in the arena. Final Lap and Samurai. Samurai try to go around. Final Lap is just going in circles, but Samurai has a good hold of him there for a moment, as Samurai seems to be stuck, but he's free. Final Lap trying to gain an advantage. Samurai is too. Both are devastated after a knockout loss to their respective machines, being thwarted by the random robotics machines. That's kind of funny. Anyway, Samurai pushing around Final Lap. It almost gets him to the screws, but has a good hold of Final Lap and takes off a set of forks off of said Final Lap. Samurai is trying to regain his position, and so is Final Lap. But Final Lap just keeps going in circles. The British machine from the United Kingdom. Samurai from Japan. 2 rookies not from the United States. That's very interesting. Anyway, Samurai trying to go around Final Lap. Almost has a good hold, but is being pushed back by Samurai into the screws. However, I don't really think it could do much. Maybe the out of the arena zone seems to be the perfect shape in Final Lap. As Final Lap, what are you doing? They're getting stuck in that out of the arena zone. Well, I guess just as my mouth is spewed, I guess Final Lap is done, and Samurai gets 3 points. Wow.
The Battle of the Rookies confirmed, with Samurai getting 3 points and Final Lap still on a very edging losing streak. Samurai is now currently tied with T-Bone and King Cobra, as King Cobra comes back into the ring again as he faces Komodo Dragon. The Battle of the Random Robotics Machines. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Let the bot battle begin. The 2 random robotics machines added in the arena. King Cobra and Komodo Dragon. Komodo Dragon with 6 points and King Cobra with 3. Both highly respected machines. There goes a fork immediately off of King Cobra. Komodo Dragon gets the flips over King Cobra, but he gets back up as King Cobra tries to do more damage, but Komodo Dragon is still going. It has the lifter resetted as King Cobra just aims for the screws, but now is aiming for Komodo with the spinner. However, I don't really think it's just doing much but flicking it upwards, as Komodo is just failing to just reset their lifter, as their lifter has resetted. So now King Cobra gets out of the way as Komodo tries to get a hold of King Cobra. What the hell? What the hell were King Cobra thinking? They just ran into the screws and they lost the fork, as Komodo Dragon has King Cobra pinned and he flips him, but King Cobra gets back up. Nice recovery there for King Cobra, as Komodo Dragon tries resetting their lifter, but it's failing miserably as usual, as it's getting back underneath of King Cobra. Can it flip him? Well, King Cobra just flipped himself over, so that's better. Komodo is trying to get underneath of King Cobra, flips him. Can he get him out of the arena, maybe? Can he? I think he did. Well, King Cobra are out, and Komodo gets another 3 points. Wow.
Not to toot my own horn, but I think we might have a robot that actually gets the full 12 points. Because think about it, Komodo Dragon has flipped over King Cobra, Final Lap, and T-Bone, and his last opponent is against Samurai. Keep that in mind. And if he actually gets the full 12 points, then he could be the first one to get... first he gets the first 12 points, and then he could probably get the highest seed out of anyone, unless if anyone else gets the other 12 points. But I'm losing track right now. Next up is T-Bone and Final Lap. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Let the bot battle begin. T-Bone up to speed. Final Lap moving around. Final Lap immediately sheds all of his forks right off of him. What does Final Lap got to do with ground game? But I don't really know, to be honest. It's all T-Bone with the pushing power. And obviously T-Bone with the weapon. And speaking of which, the weapon on T-Bone is loose. I don't know if that was just a wrong hit by T-Bone or if Final Lap actually managed to pull off a big comeback here. Well, maybe. You may have taken out the weapon, but there's one thing you've always underestimated. T-Bone's pushing power. And it does have good pushing power, although it's being pushed around by Final Lap. Final Lap gets up to speed, and so is T-Bone. I'd recommend they don't use that weapon, but it's at least using it to a good advantage. There you see T-Bone pushing back Final Lap, using their wedge. That's some good control there from T-Bone as Final Lap is moving around. It does a little hit with the spinner. Did the spinner actually knock loose T-Bone's bar, or did it just break off of sheer magic from T-Bone? Anyways, T-Bone is trying to move around. It's still pushing back Final Lap, so it's immediately getting a good advantage here as Final Lap is, well, it's sort of coming back. Yeah, it did knock loose the bar, the primary weapon of T-Bone, but it's still very much T-Bone doing the work, staying good in control and doing the damage. Although I will give credit to Final Lap where credit is due, but they're on the screws. Are they gonna get lifted up by T-Bone? They are. They are. Are they gonna get out? Oh my goodness! Final Lap are almost to the edge, and Final Lap escapes. Wow! Final Lap escapes death from the screws in T-Bone. That was a good recovery there, but I'm not too sure. Maybe the judges will take into account of T-Bone potentially taking the spot. But like I said, give credit to Final Lap where credit is due. They managed to dent the primary weapon of T-Bone, which is definitely something, but T-Bone is still having the advantage because of them pushing around Final Lap and almost having him in the screws, and now pushing him into the out of the arena zone. Although we're getting a little bit close to time right now. Maybe if, I don't know. Final Lap is trying to escape. T-Bone is pushing back Final Lap into that out of the arena zone. Could the knockout potentially happen? We're getting close to time right now. I don't know if it's going to be a knockout or a judge's decision. It's going to be a judge's decision, ladies and gentlemen. Be warned.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've entered a judge's decision. We have a split decision. Judge 3 scored the battle for Final Lap. Judge 1 scored the battle for T-Bone. And Judge 2 scored the battle for the winner, T-Bone! Pretty tough call there. Not entirely. T-Bone, yes, it did lose its weapon, but it was able to gain some control points in pushing around Final Lap. We could give Final Lap the aggression points, yes. But also, it was mainly also the damage, too, with T-Bone knocking off the forks and just overall just bullying around Final Lap, even putting him in the screws. Anyways, this is the last fight for Komodo Dragon in this heat. If he manages to flip Samurai, then he gets the full 12 points. Samurai will hopefully be there to stop him. But let's find out. 3, 2, 1...
Let the bot battle begin. The last fight to Komodo Dragon. One knockout, and they have the full 12 points. Samurai Well, it's trying to do well right now. I kind of forgot. I think Samurai has 3 points, I believe, after winning against Final Lap. Samurai is so far doing good. He gets underneath of Komodo Dragon. That's a good start from them. Exposing the sides of Komodo Dragon. As Komodo Dragon is just driving drunk for some reason. They really need to get their driving fixed. This Komodo Dragon being pushed into the screws by Samurai. However, I don't think he can really lift Komodo Dragon as Komodo Dragon tries resetting the flipper. And that tries to go in after Samurai. But Samurai is pushing him back and lifts up a fork on Komodo Dragon. But Komodo Dragon is getting really close to exposing the sides of Samurai. But Samurai is doing well. I don't know if Komodo Dragon's even moving or not. Oh, Komodo Dragon's moving. They're pushing back Samurai into the screws. That's a good push there. But I don't think it's enough. They're underneath of Samurai, and they just barely flip them. Samurai. Oh! Samurai has been flipped over. And if Komodo Dragon can either keep him still or getting him out of the arena, they will get the full 12 points. I guess that's it. What a win for Komodo Dragon.
And there you have it, folks. A full robot with the full 12 points in Series 4. And it took us this long. Komodo Dragon will be definite for a high seed. Possibly even like a top 4 seed, if anything. But let's find out when the bracket is revealed at one point. Anyways, next up we got King Cobra against Final Lap. Yes, Final Lap does have 1 point, but maybe he could get another win. Possibly, but let's find out. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Let the bot battle begin. King Cobra fast out of the gate. Didn't even get a second for Final Lap to react, but it kind of did with them just knocking off the fork. Anyways, King Cobra being pushed back by Final Lap. Final Lap is still trying to recover, even though it has one, I think, a judge's decision loss to T-Bone and just 2 knockouts against Samurai and Komodo Dragon, and now they're facing the other random robotics machine in King Cobra. I think the both of them are not really going to go through. I mean, if King Cobra does something groundbreaking, then maybe there could be something. Another fork comes off of King Cobra. So King Cobra currently, I think, has 3 points, and Final Lap has 1. So unless I don't really know what's maybe going to happen. Final Lap is trying to get underneath of King Cobra as it lifts himself over for some odd reason. King Cobra moving back. Is Final Lap moving? I think he might be stuck, but Final Lap gets free. And I was trying to go after King Cobra as he just chucks one of his forks out of the arena, but King Cobra managed to knock out the spoiler on Final Lap, although I don't really think that's meaningful to them because it's kind of just superficial damage, if anything, and so are the forks. However, the forks have a more devastating impact for Final Lap than the bleeding spoiler. So King Cobra is now stuck on top of Final Lap, but Final Lap manages to shake him off as the pulverizer comes down on King Cobra. So far King Cobra is definitely doing the damage, but I don't know about control and aggression. I think they might go to Final Lap, if anything. However, it's still decently early in the fight, so anything can happen as King Cobra rams into Final Lap and tries to do it again, but he's lifting himself over. Yeah, Final Lap is just pushing back King Cobra, and now has him in the screws. Can he take advantage of him? Can he? Oh, he has him stuck, but Final Lap releases King Cobra. He knows the harm the Cobra will do to him, mainly just for his I don't know, his pride maybe. I don't really know at this point. King Cobra trying to land some decent shots. Final Lap being pushed back again by King Cobra, but they get free. Final Lap trying to do more damage. Actually, no, King Cobra, well, Final Lap is trying to shake him off as Final Lap tries to prepare that weapon. And oh, what a scoop by King Cobra. However, it's going to go to a judge's decision as he has Final Lap pinned in the back. So this is a good fight for the both of them.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have entered another judge's decision. We have a split decision. Judge 1 scored the battle for final lap. Judge 3 scored the battle for King Cobra. And Judge 2 scored the battle for the winner, final lap. Even if final lap looks very simple, it's still yet effective. However, unfortunately, he is going to be out of the tournament, and so will King Cobra if Samurai can't do much about it. He only has a knockout win, and if he doesn't win, then King Cobra could possibly move into the third place bracket, as Samurai will go in his last fight against T-Bone. We'll see what happens. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Let the final battle begin. T-Bone up to speed. Samurai doing well. Samurai is currently at 3 points, and T-Bone, I believe, I kind of forgot how much T-Bone has. I think it's like, I don't know, 5, I think, from a KO win and a judge's decision win and a KO loss. I kind of forgot. Anyways, Samurai pushing back T-Bone. If T-Bone doesn't get another knockout, he might potentially go to the third place bracket. And Samurai, if he wins by a knockout, could, and I'm saying could, potentially go into the main bracket along with Komodo Dragon, who ultimately lost to. Anyways, Samurai is pushing back T-Bone into the side wall. I don't know if it's really much. Samurai is easily able to control T-Bone. Maybe because he has forks and has a more of a wider stance than T-Bone with its wedge, with its bloodshot eyes. And it was T-Bone being pushed around by Samurai. And now he's trying to get that bar up to speed. But Samurai manages to get underneath the T-Bone and screws it. T-Bone is out of the arena. Well, T-Bone is gone. Samurai are going to get the win. How about that?
Quite possibly the most action-packed heat we've had in I don't know how long. Congratulations to Samurai, the rookies, for getting 6 points and surviving it to the full round. But mostly congratulations to Random Robotics and Komodo Dragon with the full 12 points. They'll be definite for a high seed. And T-Bone just gets 5 points. So they'll have a very low seed going into the third place bracket. And we say a sad and sorry goodbye to King Cobra and Final Lap. They did good, but not good enough. But in any cases, in Heat M, we have Whippersnapper, Captain Claw, T-Rex-a-Lot, Pushover, and Gargoyle. Be ready for that, whenever that'll be. And we'll see you in the next round. Bye.